Today, we're exploring a place called Captain Jack's Stronghold, where there was a face-off between the U.S. Army and the Modoc Indians. And one of the interesting places is there's this rugged territory that it occurs in, and just lava rock everywhere. And there's these places where there was these paths you can see that open up in between, but as a result of it being very irregular and everything else, it was very easily defended by the Indians. And so they held off a force many times their size because of the strategic positions they had and how well they knew the land. And so it was easy to defend the access points in to where they're going. You can see the cracks that was there, and lots of these other spaces out here are not really navigable just because you're basically rocking across tumbles of volcanic rock, which is very difficult to do precisely, particularly when you're trying to be quiet and sneaky about it. So very difficult to sneak around in a place like that.
The southeast middle. The Modoc defensive line. And over.
Lots of these positions. This is a little, not quite a tunnel, right, but a little passageway that was hidden in the rocks so that they could sneak through here to advance defensive positions. The main line is back over this direction, and they could easily sneak through under cover and get over here and then crossfire and defend the other main positions. It's amazing what a massive strategic position this is, and no doubt was critical why they came here in the first place. The Indians knew about it and came here because they knew it would be easily defended. Andrew is exploring Captain Jack's cave, where he and his family lived during the siege. 2 wives and some children. Down there, looks like right where Andrew is, there could have been a bed. And it was sheltered a little bit from the rain and the wind, although I imagine during the winter their conditions were fairly harsh. So really interesting to kind of be here and see it. The place is incredibly defensible. And hi, Kara. Buzz Lightyear is on duty learning about Captain Jack. And so it's just really interesting to actually be here and see this. You could read about this and not really understand quite what it meant, but actually seeing it in person really makes a difference. It helps me really kind of understand what they went through and what it was like on both sides. Here's some more of these natural guarded pathways. Right on both sides there was walls so they could move without being too intense. Kara's getting a drink here. And they can move back and forth through this. Had some spots where they could climb up in little defensive positions up there. They could scout and see what's going on. Really, this was a fantastic place to hold. Just amazing how the geographic features lend them so well to the natural defense of the position. It's no wonder that Captain Jack and his men, the Modoc Indians, came to this place, because they knew that they could defend it well. You can see here the crack that we came out of in the flow of lava rock there. Pretty neat stuff. So we decided to take the long trail instead of the short one, and it shows some additional fortifications and stuff. There's more of these trenches, these natural rock places and everything else to hide out. And we found another number with an entry in our booklet, so we're gonna see what it says.
133.
I'll read. Shanshin.
There you go.
Johnson's command post. Right, 13? Sconchin John directed the defense of the western side of the stronghold from this position. In the first battle, Army units met stiff resistance here. The thick fog, deep ravines, and heavy accurate fire from the defenders caused the attack to fail. During the second assault, units from the Gillam's camp were able to edge along the lake shore about where the road is now, and finally joined the other troops moving in from the east. By holding their positions along the lake, the soldiers cut the Modocs off from their source of water. Was this an important factor leading to the eventual abandonment for the fortress, or was it because the soldiers stepped over the magic rope?
What do you think, kiddos? Would you get thirsty if you didn't have any water to drink?
Yes.
Remember there used to be a lake right there.
So the flat stuff over there that you see used to be a lake. It was drained to make more farmland, but that was all lake. So the Indians would go off of that side over there to get water. And when the army cut off their access to water, then they pretty quick ran out of water.
And they drained it?
And then eventually
No,
they
not
drained it.
part of the war, but they did eventually drain it later. So the people could, the Indians, the defenders could actually crawl up to this firing position from below down in the trench. So they could come along the trench up here and then come right up in this rock to a great firing position for the outside. So
And once they hear a shot coming, they just crouch down and
yep.
crawl back down here.
And they were able to just move around and just complete blocked view of the enemy, which is just amazing. These outer defenses would have been super hard to hold, and the army didn't know the position, so they would have had to discover basically where their fortifications were by getting shot at, which doesn't really sound very much fun.
19 is called fortifications. After the Modoc vacated the stronghold, the army considered with some concern that possibility that they might attempt to return. To prevent this, an army detachment was assigned for the area. During this stay, they built a number of high wall fortifications. That's probably where why all the stones in there. It tumbled down after a long time. Spaced across the plateau on the south side of the stronghold, these stone structures compensate for the lack of natural trenches on the flat plateau. Several additional fortifications will be seen farther along the trail.
So at the end of the conflict, the Indians were out of water, and life was getting pretty painful. And so just a little bit over there is a flat spot on the plains, and they just walked from their fortifications over this direction. They just walked along and walked on out of there, and you can imagine how fast they would have walked on a flat trail that they knew. And so even though the army was camped nearby, they just walked on right out of here and went to another water source. And that happened after they ran out of water, after the army finally cut off their access to the lake on the north side. And so but they didn't sneak through, they didn't sneak through some of the lower places or anything, because those were harder to go. Here you can see some more fortifications built by the army as they attempted to prevent the Indians from returning to fight here. You can imagine, after having such a bitter war, that the army wasn't too excited about anyone getting the jump on them again, and they didn't want to fight this battle again. And so they set up some fortifications to keep the Indians from using this place again.